update on interdimensional reality from the old Hagman report.
But anything that you speak is true, affects the multi-dimensional nature of our reality in many ways that most people don't comprehend. So just by coming on this program and you and I discussing some of the things we're going to discuss, the words that we're speaking into the physical world reality alter not only the physical world dimension, but they alter the fourth dimension and the other dimensions, because all of the dimensions in what we call reality are interlocked. They're like a massive infinite puzzle piece. And let's just say hypothetically there were, like, for every puzzle piece represented a different dimension, but you couldn't make sense out of perceiving that unless you had the ability to put together the information from all the different dimensions, which is what we are doing on your program today and what we've done in the past. And why is this important, to put together these dimensions and understand reality clearly? It's important because we are beings that were created before the beginning of the dimension of time and space. So you and I and all of your listeners were created before the beginning of the dimension of time and space. The school system, the educational system, the Bill Gates of the world, big pharma, big medical, big ripoff, big financial, big whatever, big baloney, they do not want the masses to know that truth, because you see, when you approach the firewall, when you approach the barrier that is blocking you from moving from the physical reality dimension and going into the higher dimensions where you can access higher knowledge, deeper truth, eternal truth, infinite truth, they don't want that. Because you see, they know, because many of them are Luciferians, and even though they have a distorted viewpoint about the multidimensional nature of reality, they still understand it to a large degree better than most, unfortunately, than most Christians and most people in our society. So what I'm saying is the globalist elite, which is also the Luciferian elite, and the Illuminati bloodline families that control through a hierarchical governmental structure on a global scale, that control everything that's happening in our world today, they're doing it by suppressing the consciousness of the masses through school, through media, through government, through medicine, through so-called science and technology. And it is imperative that they suppress this knowledge in people and erect a barrier that keeps people from receiving higher level information and knowledge. Because when we regain the higher level information and knowledge that we had before the beginning of time, our real space-time genetic ancestors, they had names, Adam and Eve. Now, what was interesting, because our DNA is directly connected to Adam and Eve.
It was a Susan.
But Adam and Eve, their genetic code, and by the way, all expressions of DNA, all expressions of the genetic code manifest themselves in this physical world reality through electromagnetic frequencies, or electrical frequencies and magnetic frequencies. So right now you and I are talking, and people can see us on the screens of their various technology. But what they see of us and hear of us is actually our beings, our physical beings, are actually being projected from another dimension which materializes in the physical reality dimension through electromagnetic frequencies. Now, the Luciferian elite understand this. They've understood this principle since ancient Babylon at the time of the Tower of Babel. They've understood this in the Egyptian Empire and the other super civilizations that have rise and falls throughout human history. Atlantis, if it did exist, they understood that. So the critical thing that we have to understand is that whether we like it or not, this is not a matter of, you know, in America, we're spoiled brats. We think that the universe and reality or whatever is going to ask us, well, do you like this? Are you going to vote for this? The universe doesn't give a you-know-what about whether we like something or not, because the universe operates according to divine law, and that divine law exists and operates, and it has nothing to do with whether we like it or not. So we find ourselves at this exact moment in human history. This is part of what was going on in this phone call I had very early this morning. This person said, and I get this all the time, Paul, do you think, you know, this, everything that's going on, is this Bible prophecy? I don't see any way out of this situation that we're in. And I've been studying it for years. So this person was like deeply studying everything since going back to the earlier election, through the 2+ years of COVID and the vaccinations and pandemic, etc., and the synchronicity of the arrival of the pandemic simultaneously with the arrival of the 5G electromagnetic frequency transmitters. And people need to understand that in other dimensions that affect our physical reality dimension, the 5G electromagnetic frequency transmitters are beaming their EMF signal into our physical bodies, and many people's physical bodies, because of the choices they have made, are filled with graphene oxide and other chemicals which function as EMF transmitters, EMF receivers.